Good morning, afternoon, or evening, ladies and gentlemen. Allincrypto here, and welcome back, guys, for another daily cryptocurrency market update. If you are finding yourself on this channel for the first time, every single day at 1 p.m. UK time, we drop an update just like this one to help you guys stay up to date with the latest and greatest things happening within the crypto space, but also the broader markets, and that's exactly what we're going to be doing in this video. Allincrypto has a huge announcement that we are going to be delivering to start the video off. We are going to be getting into that, and then we're going to be looking at some really interesting things that are coming to light, like the fact that BlackRock has actively been acquiring Bitcoin since 2022 via Coinbase's custodian services. We are going to be diving into that. I think this was rather obvious. You know, of course, BlackRock and institutions play a very different game to retail, and they have the power to move the market and will position accordingly beforehand. And this is why we champion technical analysis, because this is insider information that most people are not privy to. However, the charts are king, and they are the footprints in the sand. So we are going to be getting into that. Then we're going to be looking at Bitcoin, its price. Bitcoin hit 44K last night. When will it stop? We're going to be looking at that. We're also potentially in the coming weeks going to be giving you our price prediction that may be technically generated for Bitcoin in 2024. We go by technicals, just in the same manner that we predicted this year Bitcoin getting to 42K, and we made that call when Bitcoin was really around about the 20 sort of K range, and we had an inverse head and shoulders that has came to fruition now. We are going to be looking to project further based on possibilities in regards to technical analysis that may occur. We're then going to be looking at crypto.com that have secured a licensing in the UK. This is a big step. They've secured this with the FCA, the Financial Conduct Authority, which is the big regulator, kind of like the SEC, but for the United Kingdom. We're going to be looking at a quote from Hal Finney, and then we're going to be talking about why the Federal Reserve is a scam. So we have a hell of a lot to get into. To kick the video off, though, guys, I would like to announce the Allincrypto portfolio tracker. Now, I set this channel up and the Allincrypto brand to be a useful tool for you guys to stay up to date with the crypto space on a daily basis, to help retail investors navigate the treacherous waters that is the cryptocurrency market and also the broader markets. But we also want to be useful, and you guys will know that we recently launched our website, allincrypto.com, and we dropped some of the hottest news articles. We'll be looking at one involving crypto.com today. We also launched our watch list. So we are essentially a coin market cap. And we've gone a step further that we are announcing today, and that is the introduction that will be live in 2024 of the Allincrypto portfolio tracker. If you're like me and you have your cryptocurrency spread far and wide, staking in various different vehicles across various different hardware wallets, you may want a central place where you can correlate all your coins and you can track your portfolio daily via a website and also a mobile application. Let's take a look at that, guys, and then let's move on. Something we are massively excited about is the Allincrypto portfolio tracker, and that will be dropping in 2024. My Patreons, if you want to become a Patreon, are going to be trialing that out today. We are having a meeting where we will look to onboard the Patreons in regards to the portfolio tracker. And there's a lot of great things going on with the Patreon right now. We are positioning in a sector that we think is going to be the next big thing in crypto. And we've told you what it is. It's essentially decentralized computing. If you look at cloud computing and all this stuff, it makes up the largest companies of the world, and it's very centralized, and ultimately distributed ledgers have a far wider application, which one of the Bitcoin OGs, Hal Finney, really understood. And this is what I've always said: Bitcoin maxis are the most confused people in the room. I don't even think Bitcoin is a practical money. I think it's a great store of value, and it's proven to be that, and I think it is truly revolutionary. And we are going to be talking about why the Federal Reserve Bank is a scam, and central banks are scams towards the end of the video once we've got through what we need to. But this is a quote from Hal Finney. Bitcoin is a global, decentralized, yet consistent database. There are many applications for a global, consistent database. So this is where we've got altcoins from. This is why Vitalik and people like that were such visionaries in regards to taking this concept of a distributed ledger, which is really the underlying technology and the revolution here, and applying it to a further field. And we're seeing that with the likes of decentralized computing and stuff like that. Let's talk about BlackRock. BlackRock actively acquired Bitcoin during the entire bear market through its private trust launched in 2022 with Coinbase as a custodian. Remember, Coinbase is one of those stocks that we have been given to everyone. Also, the altcoins that we've been listing recently have been doing very well. Coinbase is something that we project around about the $400-500 mark. And this is something that we've been highlighting really since, and many of the patrons have been buying since the $30-40 region. So they're doing very, very well. One of the beautiful things about this channel is we do not just look at the crypto market, we look at the traditional markets. It's how we've been able to be so accurate when many other YouTubers have simply fallen short. But Coinbase looks pretty hot. And if you look at the ETF filings, they're all listing Coinbase as the custodian, which is very bullish. Coinbase is going to be one of the unicorn stocks of the future. So this is absolutely huge news. And of course, BlackRock have been buying Bitcoin, certainly through the year of 2022 and certainly vastly down here. And you can see this really showing up in regards to volume by price. This again is why we champion technical analysis, because it will tell you what you simply won't get. It's no surprise that all the volume occurred down here, likely driven by BlackRock and everything, knowing the plans that they had further afield. And remember, they are launching an Ethereum ETF and moving into the field of many others. So moving on to Bitcoin, when will this stop? Where our head and shoulders target, which we'll very quickly just bring back up, was, and we use a number of things, not just traditional technical patterns. We also use stage analysis to predict that all of this, but this target was met, okay? And Bitcoin has gone and pushed on even higher. The next logical area for it to rest, in my opinion, is round about the 48-47 region. So somewhere round about here, I would suggest Bitcoin taking a rest. And then there may be the scope for something broader, which we could project for a higher price target. And there could be an even bigger head and shoulders setting up. But we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. The next logical rest for me for Bitcoin is when it gets here. Many people frustrated with the altcoin market. However, we do have altcoins that have outperformed Bitcoin and are doing well against it. But altcoins will have their day in the sun. This is beautiful, guys. We predicted and projected a kind of meeting based on a smaller head and shoulders that gave us a broader target for the altcoin market. And now we are getting a larger head and shoulders. This is something called a nestling head and shoulders. And this is how markets work. It's the structure that they follow. So watch Bitcoin. Any sort of a downdraft on altcoins, I think, is there to be accumulated. That's just my own personal opinion. And we are looking at a basket of altcoins that we think are going to do very well. Many of them already doing exactly that. On to a bit of crypto news. Crypto.com, Crow securing an EMI authorization from the UK's FCA. So an introduction. In a significant development for the cryptocurrency sector, Crypto.com, a global leader in the digital currency space, announced on December the 4th, so 2 days ago, that it has received authorization from the UK's Financial Conduct Authority, FCA, to operate as an electronic money institution. Wow, this is a big step. This marks a pivotal moment in the company's expansion strategy, aligning with its commitment to regulatory compliance and consumer protection. So this is huge. Everything is going to be cryptoized. If that's not even a word, but you guys know it. You've been following me for long enough. We're on the scent of where this world is moving. And we think that crypto is going to succeed for a number of reasons. We think it aligns with a globalist agenda. And talking about the globalist agenda, let's move on to a section on CNBC where an individual was brought on to talk about the Federal Reserve and the kind of corrupt and ironic nature of it. The Federal Reserve and central banking is absolutely a scam. It's the biggest Ponzi scheme of them all. Forget your shit coins. The central banks are the propagators of the largest Ponzi. Let's get into that and then let's wrap the video up.
It's worrisome. You know, the Fed basically has become now just a giant hedge fund. It's lost $1 trillion, you know, and counting. It's going to be a gigantic loss. What it does is borrows money at 5.4% from banks and then dumps it into government bonds. So think what that trade does. That causes the government to think that it's better off than it is. And so that encouraged the government to be short when rates were zero. So why did the government, borrow so much in T-bills? Well, because the Fed was buying the bonds, and it made it look like yields were going to stay low for remember the low for long phrase. So we've got these multiple problems that are going on, and it endangers the dollar. So that's the basic case.
Instead of the Fed having such large balances, wouldn't the private sector be starting businesses and risking capital and bringing returns and adding to growth? Wouldn't all that money be better if it wasn't with the Fed?
That's right, and we're depending on private equity. So as the banks get squeezed out, because they're lending so much to the Fed, it's literally a floating rate loan from banks to the Federal Reserve so it can buy government bonds. So if that were freed up, that would allow the banks to at least consider a small business loan and inventory loan, the kinds of things that help the economy grow. And this is on a global basis. It's not just the Fed. It's all the major central banks doing the same thing, meaning taking money from the economy in order to buy government bonds. We need to be clear on that. I heard the previous segment, they talk about money printing. There isn't any money printing on it. It's just money borrowing, and they pay top dollar for it. The Fed pays 5.4 to banks and 5.3 to money market funds, so to the Fidelity and Vanguard and so on. The Fed is way too big. It's also, we haven't talked about, but the regulatory policy aspect of the Fed is dominant. It didn't used to be that the Fed was the major regulator. There were bank regulators, but now the Fed is the dominant bank regulator. So they're basically doing two things. They're deciding how much to pay banks and then how to regulate banks at the same time. And so that's really a conflict of interest and so I think the answer is one of compromise. Just bring down the balance sheet a lot. There's no reason why the Fed needs to have such a giant balance sheet and make such a big bet on the government. It's not fair to the people.
So this idea that the central bank is essentially a hedge fund is so true. They've created this fiat system that they propagate and continue to buy. And the Fed is essentially acting as a hedge fund. This idea, I'm a big believer in free markets. I fundamentally don't align with the likes of communism. I think we live in a world that is far more towards that way than it is what they claim it is, which is a capitalist sort of free market state. I don't think that's the case in America. I don't think it's the case in the UK at all. And I think when people look at some of the faults with the likes of capitalism, they use the UK and the US as an example, but actually they are far more communistic in nature with the likes of an overarching and overreaching government, which the individual here mentioned, than I think many people realize. And actually, the Fed causes a lot more damage. They are the sole propagators of the boom and busts because of how they interact and money is created. And not only do they create all this money, they have to now continue to create the money to back the thing that backs it, which is debt. All money is debt. It will come to a head at some point. I actually think this is part of the plan. And it's very interesting that crypto has popped up at the perfect time, ready to be that new horse when the old horse is dying, that they jump on. And I always do question the origins of Bitcoin and its real intent. I think it's nothing short of a marvel. But I'm very suspicious. The libertarian in me is always suspicious. So that is really all I've got for you in this video, guys. Big news about the Allincrypto portfolio tracker. Excited for you guys to try that out in 2024. If you want to get early access, do consider becoming a patron. And on that note, I'm going to love and leave you. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.